Welcome to the second devlog with AnalyticalEngine. So we've added a few new features. The first one that you'll probably notice if you boot up the game is we have a show map modes, hide map modes button now. This is still a little bit finicky, but basically your mods can have custom map modes, and I can actually show what this looks like. If we go over to my mod here, 1159, this is the main one that I always show as an example, because it's the most complex one, right? And so you can see we have add map mode, we have our ID, we have a name, we specify that it's both an editor and game map mode, and that it has a live update. And this appears over in the list. Now, the way you actually select a custom map mode is you just kind of click on it in the list, and there is like a zoom level problem with the bottom right UI element by default. You'll still be looking at that. And you can basically look at the extended map modes now. This is very similar to what there is in Alert to Volume 4 for modding. And you can also go back to default, and it should all, you can see sometimes there is a little bit of jank on it, so you do want to like play around with the button presses a little bit. Another thing that we've added, besides the custom map mode support, were loading texts. So if we go back and we create a new scenario, you can see here we have loading text, right? And this custom loading text is bugged in the base game, and we have no clue why it's bugged. It just kind of is. If we go over to loading bundle.properties, properties, you can see this works just as in AOC 2, and you can specify your loading text that way. There have also been a number of other changes, so you will notice that we have a custom main menu now, and part of the reason for doing that was so that you could actually load in games in the multiplayer build. You could not do that before. There wasn't like a really good reason that you could not do it before, it was just kind of disabled. We've also re-enabled ours, which should hopefully be fine. There's still some funny things going on, right? There is jank, and we are working on kind of sorting that out. We're in the polishing phase now. I would say it's still not feature complete, but we are working on that. As part of that polishing, if you no longer have Steam open, right? So if we close Steam, and we make sure that Steam is out, right? We'll close this. And this actually takes a while, so alright, there we go. Now if we try running AnalyticalEngine again, you can see Steamworks is not running, it's still alerting Steam, right? You can see Steam is still alerting up, but I don't want to show that. And it's still alerted Steam, it will wait. So this now happens automatically, so this should hopefully no longer be an issue. We've also done automatic pathing, so even if you store the .jolder file outside of the base game folder where it's supposed to be, it should still work in theory. So those are some of the compatibility fixes that we've done. You can see we're back here, and we've also done actually something else, which is that there is now a music framework, right? So you can play main theme.ogg, and here's what this does, right? So if I go over to my audio, and I re-enable my audio to 50%, right? And I go back, and I restart the game, you can see that this is in my mods folder path. And if I come back here, this plays the main theme on the start of the game. And what was a problem before was that once you got to the end of the loading, right, the main theme wouldn't replay, it would just switch to something completely different. That has now been fixed. So you can use this function in addition to play music, which already exists in both the base game and in AnalyticalEngine. So these are kind of the brief changes that we've made. There were some other things. If I turn down the audio. So, another thing that we've done is we've actually changed up how the population and economy scripting works. So if we go over to map scripting framework, it's way down here, right? Map scripting framework, and we can see that we have load population number data, we have load economy number data. You can actually use these functions from the command line, right? So if you type in console.log_true, say that's how you execute JavaScript. If you type in console load economy number data and use these file paths, right? And you have a dedicated object that you are working with, it should, it can load in both economic data and population data automatically. So hopefully, let me turn this really down. Okay, so hopefully that is somewhat interesting. Now, you might say, well, where am I getting this economic data and all this population data that I can use for modding? So this is my GitHub account, right? And here we actually have a project for providing these files. And these files run from 10,000 BC to the present day, so they should be fairly comprehensive. You can see we have a release as well. And for economic files, you'll want to go to here and go to GDP PPP rasters, right? And this is what this measures, purchasing power parity. We also go here to Scala. This has land use files. I don't think you want the land use files, but you are looking for POP-C files. So if you can find those, I don't know why it's not loading in here. I think it's a problem with the staged commit currently, which I'll be looking into. But if you go, basically, if you go over to, my files are all messed up. If you come in here, you can see SLC mods 1159 rasters, right? And so if I go over to the editor, and I go over to map editor, and I go over to let's say I go over to the base development level editor, right? And I decide to, you can see it's kind of fine currently. If I decide to really mess this up, you know, we can see that there's going to be some changes. So what I can do is I can come in here and say console load economy number data, right? And this is from the base folder, so we're looking at mods 1159 rasters, and then we can see that we need a provinces file path, so that will be 1159 map.png, and then we do mods 1159 rasters gdp1950.png, right? And so if we look in here, what we should see, is that the economic data is loaded in automatically. Now I don't actually wish to save this, so we'll go back, right? And we can do the same for population. So if we go over to population, growth rate editor, you can see here that this is just fine. If we go over to load population number data, we can do the same for this as well. So we can go to output, mods 1159 rasters 1159 map.png. This is our provinces map. And we can go over to POP-C 1950 number.png. And this data currently mostly comes from Hive, so it's not really perfect, right? Okay. Oh yeah. You need to provide the exact relative path. So mods 9 rasters. You can see we've also changed it. I also don't want to save it, obviously. And you can see that we have 1159 map.png down here, right? And you might be wondering, okay, how do we get this map? So how you actually get this map is you type in save province map, and you say province map, right? And you say output province map.png, and this will automatically generate a province ID map like this one. Yeah, there's loads of unupdated stuff that I have to go through. Now, that takes some time, that takes a few minutes, and it should be fine. So hopefully that should help with map scripting. At least that helps with the population and economy stuff. You no longer have to do that manually. There's folders, there's resources online. I know that the POP-C files were kind of missing. They're in here. You can go in here and you can download .zip. And they'll be there, but they'll kind of, for some strange reason, missing in the main repo at the moment. That'll be fixed by the time this goes live. So, yeah, hopefully that will be it. Kind of a shorter one, I think. Anyway.